It's now been a little over 2 years since Star Wars Squadrons released, and a second game seems to be absolutely nowhere in sight. Now, I'm not overly surprised given that over the last few years, Motive Studios, the developers behind Squadrons, have been working on the Dead Space remake which releases early next year, and it has since been revealed that Motive are working on a brand new Iron Man game. Now, the main reason as to why I can't see a second Squadrons game happening anytime soon is because a lot of the senior developers that worked on Squadrons are working on the Iron Man game, and creative director Ian Fraser is also the creative director on the Iron Man game, and given that Iron Man is still in production, Ian will be tied to this game for a number of years as it's developed and released. Ian even said in an interview that the game is a long way away, and this announcement was likely to drive up recruitment as they move into the early stages of production. Given that Ian was a core part of Squadrons, I really can't see Motive making another Squadrons game without him. Of course they could, but it just doesn't really seem likely to me given his knowledge and expertise in the subject. There is also a chance that Ian could move project after a few years, but creative directors will stay on the game pretty much until it's released, and moving a core member of the team mid-production would be very bizarre, and would need a very good reason. Not to say that a second Squadrons game isn't good enough, but it could no doubt impact Iron Man 2 negatively, though if there are any game developers listening to this video then I'd love to talk more about this matter as I could be completely wrong. I also imagine that once the Dead Space remake is complete, most, if not all of the developers will moving on to the Iron Man game, which will be a big undertaking for the studio, so it could be all hands on deck for them. As a result of this, I can't see Squadrons 2 beginning pre-production for at least 4 to 5 years, which means that it would likely be 7 to 8 years away at the earliest, and that honestly sucks because the Squadrons franchise deserves so much more, and the first game really proved that it has the potential for bigger and better things. Now, I know a lot of people out there will probably come and talk about the negative things like how the servers died in 1 month, which isn't exactly true. Sure, it did take a decent amount of time to find games, but I got past that pretty quickly given how good the gameplay was. And also, if the game actually got consistent updates, then we'd no doubt be seeing far more people playing the game months after launch. I genuinely believe that that was the main issue with Squadrons 1. There's obviously no way a second Squadrons game could reach the player numbers of Battlefront 2 as it is a niche market by comparison, but I imagine Squadrons 2 being similar to Squadrons 1, but with the prequels, sequels, and even the High Republic, given that it's more fleshed out, could be in the game, so I just think Squadrons 2 would be absolutely huge in terms of content, but also in terms of player numbers compared to Squadrons 1. Now, I say all this, and whilst Motive did a fantastic job with Squadrons, it doesn't have to be Motive or even EA at all that could make the next big Star Wars flight combat game. It could literally be anyone. So hopefully we will get something sooner rather than later, but at this moment in time I really wouldn't be surprised if it was 7 years away at the very earliest due to the Iron Man game. Anyway guys, let me know what you make of this in the comments below. Would you like to see a second Squadrons game or not? That is it from me today. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the force be with you always.